was the same mom that wrote in my yearbook, they grow oranges in California and in Florida too, but it took good old Indiana to grow a nut like you. I left right after graduating. So I want to talk about red light and green light people. You know, we have friends from the past and we acquire those friends and they come through life with us, but sometimes they turn into red light people. You know, you go out to lunch with them or you go somewhere with them and you leave feeling like a snail on Valium. I mean, really. You're like, all the energy's been sucked out of your body. It's okay to let them go. It really is truly okay to let them go. Fun or fear? Where do you want to be? A fun-based or fear-based life? So every year now I say, I want to do one thing that's really a stretch, that's really going to push my buttons and almost scare me. And every year I want to have a fun-based life. So this year I was sitting in my office and it hadn't showed up yet. We never really know when it's going to show up, do we? And I got an email and it said, how would you like to go to Redmond, Oregon on a motorcycle ride to the BMW National Rally? I go, wow, doesn't that sound like fun? Let's see now. I've gone about 400 miles. That's the furthest I've ever gone on my motorcycle. But I didn't think about it. I called the MOA magazine and I made my registration and then I hung up and then I started hyperventilating. Oh my gosh, 3,700 miles on a motorcycle with people I hardly know. And the fear took over, right? Because that's what happens. The fear takes over and it's like, what are some of my fears? What if I get hurt? What if they leave me? What if I get to the rally and no one talks to me? So all those fears, you know. I'll be all alone. And that's what stops us most of the time, right? We would stop right there and say, no, I'm not going to do that. But I didn't. I set the intention to have that experience. And so I'd like to talk to you a little bit about setting intention to create a fun-filled life. But I'd like to do a little exercise before I do, because I'm going to give you a power phrase to start using. We have like on a motorcycle, an internal GPS. It's our internal navigational system, right? Do you know about it? It sits on the pelvis floor in the back next to the perineum, and it's where all-knowing, it's where we're centered, it's where we have we dial into consciousness. Now, what do you do when you have a GPS? What do you do on your GPS in the car? You have to turn it on first, right? Yeah, first you turn it on. Now, you turn it on, and then you give it instructions on where you want to go, and it takes you there in the smoothest way, right? The most direct route. So that's why we talk about how to make financial, emotional, and spiritual flow. So how do you tell the GPS to get turned on? So let's do a little exercise. Things go better with hope. It's a little dabble, do ya? That hasn't been on since the 60s. Brill cream, put that in your hair and look all shiny. No hair, so you don't have to use it, but Brill cream. Okay, we'll do one more. I love to dance, but I have 2 left feet. Right? You've heard that before, right? I love to dance, but I have 2 left feet. So what if we change that to I love to dance, and up to now, your circuit breaker to your GPS opens up. Got some instructions. New instructions, finally! Up to now, that energy opens, and you say, I've had 2 left feet. Now you're going to move into a new direction. Up to now, I've had two left feet. And so you shift to the fun of what that could bring you, right? I love to dance. I love to feel the music and the movement and the flow, and now you're focusing on the possibility of it. So what appears? The unknown. The unknown supports you in having that experience, and it starts to move you in that direction with the shortest distance and with ease. So I'm heading to this national rally, and I set an intention. I wanted to meet the national marketing people for BMW. That's what I drive, a BMW. And I'd done one autograph event, and I brought the only guest. So here I am in one of the bookstores, and I'm thinking, I'll have a big event, and I show up, and I only have my friend with me, and no one else is there. So that wasn't much fun, right? So I set the intention that I would like to do something that was fun and also sell books. So up to now, I'd been in the bookstore, and it hadn't worked. So I set the intention to create a new way to sell books. So I got to the national meeting after 4.5 days on the road, no incidents, we had a great time. And I walked over to the person in charge of the marketing for, it's called BMW Motorrad USA. And I walked up to him and he said, I can't talk to you right now, I'm really busy. I was like, okay. So he said, come back in 5 minutes. And I went back and I walked up to him and I said, hi, my name's Mary Louise, I know who you are. He said, I've heard of the dealers talking about you, because I had my first autograph party at a BMW dealership. And he said, here's what I'll do. I'll give you a list of all the dealers, I'll reimburse the dealers, and I'll write about it in the dealer newsletter. And so now what I do is go around to BMW dealerships, and I talk about living life full throttle. Wow. Cool. Another thing that happened when I made my reservations was, see, I'd never been to a national rally. And so I called for reservations, and I heard the hotel people go, honey, the town's been sold out for a year. Oh, no place to stay. Now, a lot of BMW riders pitch tents. But I went to a finishing school the summer of my junior year in high school. I think it was reform school or the finishing school. I can't remember what got me there. But and so tenting to me was the folding of a cloth napkin for a formal dinner party. So I set the intention that that wouldn't happen to me. And I got the idea to call the chamber, the Redmond Chamber. And I called and I said, I'd really like to rent a room in someone's home. And Eric, who brought the BMW rally to Redmond, said, give me a couple of days. And about 3 days later, I get a call from Amy Jo. And she said, I do have a room. I'm a single career woman. I'd love to have you. And I was 3 miles from the event. So intention, when you set the intention, you don't have to know how it's going to show up. And then my son called from Reno. He says, Mom, I just bought my house, and I'm so excited. I'm going to come and join you for the 3 days. So I got to spend 3 days with my son, and that's a gift of a lifetime, right? Then I just got a new Droid phone. How many of you have the new, welcome to the 21st century, right? And I was working with it in the tent at the national rally, and a man walked up and said, Mary Lou Dobbs. He says, I know, I've had your book, and I haven't done a report on it. And I said, you know what? How about I write about a woman's point of view or perspective at a national rally for her first time? He goes, great, have it in by the 8th. See, we never know. We never know what's going to happen. Now, what if I hadn't said yes? What if I hadn't moved in that direction and chose fun versus fear? So we missed that entire experience of a full and vibrant life, right? Fun versus fear. moving in the direction of flow and ease. We don't have to know the results. We just have to trust. We turn on our internal navigational system, and it needs directions. You set your intention, and you start to move in that direction. It creates financial, emotional, and spiritual flow, and it really, really works. I was the kind of person, up till then, who pushed and made things happen. Pushed, I want it this way. It has to look like that, be in control. And when I allowed life to move to and through me, I could rest into it. And it wasn't difficult, it was started to flow. And those kind of things happen. The power of intention is so powerful. There was a lady who had a family, and it was her birthday. Who said they had a birthday today? Happy birthday. Well, you might identify with this then. She's all right. Oh, sure, yeah. Well, this lady had 2 kids, 2 teenagers, and 2 dogs, and a husband, and she kind of had it. You know, it was like the noise level, and it was just went on and on and on. So for her birthday, she said, you know what I'd really like is an evening all by myself, just quiet, a peaceful night where I can read a book, just me. And her husband, being the lovey guy he was, said, okay, honey, that's what I'll get you. So he got her a room near the airport in Albuquerque. She went, checked in. The room was beautiful. She got her book. She went down, had a really quiet meal, and she started reading her book. She really enjoyed it. And then she went up to her room. She went to bed. Well, she was asleep for about 10 minutes, and a 747 took off. Knocked her out of bed, onto the floor, and she got up and she said, I can't believe this. She got back in bed, got back to sleep. A few minutes later, 747 took off, knocked her out of bed, back on the floor. She says, I can't believe this. She went over the phone, she called the night manager, and she said,